up, y'all? So we are going to try the pasta bowl. As I mentioned before, if I do sweat, I apologize. It is hot outside and my car is off because I wanted you all to be able to hear me in this video. We're gonna try Papa John's pasta bowl. I don't see how people eat in the car, y'all. This is really hard, but I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it, I promise. Oh, this is what it looks like. So I got the I forgot what it's called, but I am gonna put it down below. This is the one that is like all the toppings off the pizza. Like I see meat in here, like vegetables, cheese. So we're gonna try it. See what Papa John's talking about. And while we try it, we're gonna talk about one of my motivational messages. I have them come in every single morning just to give me some uplift about today. So I wanted to share one with you all and do a story time about a situation where I was in an incident like this and how I overcame that incident. So this is the motivation of the day. It is: falling down is an accident, staying down is a choice. So again, that says falling down is an accident, staying down is a choice. So let me break down what this means. There are times in life where you're going to have obstacles and you may not know where they're coming from. You may be faced with different challenges, and a lot of times it seems really hard to overcome those challenges and obstacles. But if you don't take the necessary steps to overcome it, then it's kind of like you're choosing to stay down. You're choosing to stay in your own sadness. And a time in my life where I was in a situation like this was when I was in 12th grade, okay? So I live in Florida. And Florida, you are required in high school to pass a standardized test in order to graduate. Now, they may have this in other states. You all may have something like this as well. But in Florida, ours is called, or was called, the FCAT. That was the Florida Standardized Test, called the FCAT. And you had to pass that in order to graduate. Now, you take this test throughout your years in school. So back then, you started out in 1st grade and you would take it all the way until 12th grade year. In 12th grade, that's when you're required to pass this test. And once you pass this test, you'll graduate from school. If you do not, you'll get a certificate of completion, and that's it. Now, of course, every test is different. You go by, so if you're in 1st grade, you're taking the 1st grade test. Second grade, 12th grade, it's a 12th grade quest. So the test aligns with your grade level, if that makes sense. So y'all, it's coming to my 12th grade year. Mind you, I was in intensive reading from 6th grade all the way to 12th grade because of reading, okay? Now, let me tell you a backstory of why I struggled in reading, and hopefully all of this makes sense. Kindergarten was a great year. Everything was fine. It was a great year for me. 1st grade is when you start reading, like really reading paragraphs, understanding words. Now it's different. Now the kids are more accelerated. Back then it went like what I'm referring to. So in 1st grade, I don't know if my teacher was prejudiced, racist, I don't know, okay? But what I do know is in 1st grade, there were times where I would be by myself on a carpet reading a book where while the other kids were up in front of the classroom, but I was by myself reading a book on the carpet. I'm not saying every day was like this, but I do remember a lot of times where this was the case. I do remember that. There were also times where my teacher would tell my parents that I'm doing a great job, but it wouldn't align with my report cards. So she would be sharing it because my mom and my dad, they were really involved in our education throughout life. Even in college, they were still involved. They wanted to make sure we were passing, doing what we were supposed to be doing. My parents are really involved. Let me start eating before y'all say something. I apologize. Let me start. Let me. That is what it is. I figured this was like this, but I didn't really know. This is just the topping of the pizza, right? I mean, I only eat the top of the pizza sometimes anyway, especially if the crust is like too thick. I like thin crust. I'll settle for some not thin crust pizzas, but when it's too thick, I'll be like, dang, that's a lot of bread. But yeah, it's good. I mean, you tried Papa John's pizza before? Papa John's pasta bowl. But nah, it's good though. Okay, I get the hint of this. I don't know if I would get this again, but I get it. You know, I get what it was supposed to do. You know, the people who only eat the toppings, you would love this, of course. Those of y'all who just want toppings and not necessarily the bread, like I just mentioned, I don't like everybody's bread, you would like this. But people who thinking noodles mixed into this, or you know, you thinking it's more like, oh, it's a pasta. Well, that would be noodles mixing into it, Janae. That definitely would be. You may not be happy because there's no noodles in it. But it's good. It's good. It's hard for me to eat and talk. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. So I don't even know why I try to do this. That's why I don't do mukbangs. It's too hard. Anyways, y'all, let me get back to the story. I had trouble passing the test, never really passed it, struggled in reading. Yeah, so let's get back to me being in first grade. So I realized that I was distant from my class. My class didn't even like me, to be real. I don't remember one friend I had in the class. Like, I don't think they was vibing with me for real. And now that I'm older, this is what I realized. And I worked at a school board, and I know that some of these teachers, they treat children differently, and the class picks up on that same energy, and they start treating that child differently. I've seen that with my own eyes in the school board. So this may have been the case back then. I'm just not sure, but I am going to make that known. I've seen that. So this may be the reason why the kids didn't like me so much. But anyways, the teacher would tell my parents that, you know, she's doing really well in school. She's getting all these good grades, blah, blah, blah. They get my report card. It's not adding up. My parents go to open house night. They go to every night for parents to go to parent night, open house night. My parents are the ones that are there. They're really involved in our education, right? So my parents, they went ahead and they got the principal involved, because they're like, there's no way you telling us our child is good at reading and she's good at all these other areas, but yet when we see that report card, it's C's, it's D's, it's not aligning. So they went ahead and made a parent-teacher conference. I was also invited to the parent-teacher conference meeting as well, because my principal wanted to know me, what I had been doing in the class and so forth. First meeting. So yeah, the next day for the teacher-parent conference meeting, my mom, my dad, they had this meeting. I'm sitting in the office because, again, they still want me there. I'm just not in the meeting, you know? So my parents, they're having this meeting with the principal about my grades. The teacher's in there, so they got a sub in her class because she in the meeting for me. And all I remember is this. I remember my mom them coming out to get me. And I remember the principal telling me, you know, come on in. I came in, I sat down, and the principal gave me this paper. She slid it to me like this, right in front of my face. And she said, pick out who you want your second grade teacher to be. That's all she said. She said, pick out who you want your second grade teacher to be. Like, what class do you want to be in? And I realized then as a kid, and my mama them knew this, but I didn't know what was going on. So apparently the meeting, and the reason why my parents wanted to do a parent-teacher conference meeting is because they were about to keep me back in first grade. Like, I was about to stay back, or be retained. And my parents them helped me at home with like homework and stuff, you know, like they would try to tutor me the best of their abilities, but the parent is not the teacher, and the parent may not have the right tools to assess the child. So, because teachers teach to the test, a parent doesn't know what to teach because she doesn't know the test. if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So second grade came. I had a teacher, but my teacher was always out because of illness. And so I always had subs. That's all I remember. I had multiple teachers in second grade. I don't even remember. Oh, I do remember the teacher's name, but I don't remember like all of the subs and stuff because it was just so many. So I wasn't getting a lot of school instruction that year either at all, to be honest. I saw my teacher probably, I can't even count, but I feel like it was from August to September and then just straight subs for the rest of the year. That's what it felt like. So that was another year where I didn't receive a lot of information. And then third grade is where I really like, oh, now I'm being instructed in front of the class again. So sixth grade, they told me I was going to be in intensive reading. Intensive reading is a class that you take to help assist with your reading. So you have regular reading, and then you have intensive reading to help those kids who are struggling and they're not at the level they need to be at to be qualified to be in a regular or normal reading class. So I was in intensive reading from sixth grade, all the way until 12th grade. And 12th grade, like I was saying, Florida, you are required to pass this test to graduate. If you do not pass this test, then you will only receive a certificate of completion, which means that you didn't really graduate from high school. So you have to take the GED. So 12th grade, I'm going into spring soon. The last time to take the FCAT is like November, October before spring. Failed it. So I'm thinking about my options, right? And I know that if you don't pass the FCAT, but you pass the ACT or the SAT, they can replace that FCAT score. So that means you still graduated and you're able to receive your diploma. So I knew that the ACT was shorter than the FCAT as well. FCAT, you have about 8 to 10 stories, right? Where ACT, you only have about 3 to 5. So I was over here trying to weigh out my options. Like, should I do this one or that one, right? And I know that I'm already on a 504 plan. One thing I didn't mention, I have is attention deficit disorder. I have ADD. So I know that my focus, which means that I may not focus at the normal level. I may be abnormal when it comes to focusing, right? So I am on a 504 plan, which assists students who have a disability in school. So it's like an accommodation for students who have disabilities. So I was accommodated extra time on my test because of ADHD or ADD. So that was one thing I knew. So I decided to take the ACT because I knew there were shorter stories on the ACT, which means that I'll probably be able to focus more on the ACT. And it just looked like it was going to be in a shorter, it was a shorter time span to the test as well. And so that was the best option for me. That's what I felt like. So before taking the ACT, you know, I prayed, I studied, I tried to figure out what comprehension was. It was the comprehension for me. I was just not comprehending what I was reading. And I realized, like, man, this is really, like, what? Because I didn't know it was comprehension at the point. So I was really trying to figure out, like, why can't I, like, what am I missing, you know? And so on the ACT, I remember going in and I remember taking the test, right? And I remember praying before I took the test. You know, my mama always taught me, you know, pray. We were raised in church, so we were really big on our faith and prayer. And so I went in and I took the test, y'all. I read 2 of the stories. I don't know if I did well on them or not, y'all. But I know that that third story, it stood out. And it stood out because it was the Langston Hughes story. And one thing I'm realizing now as an adult, kids read and relate to whatever it is they're reading when it's about them, if you know what I mean. If the story is about black people, chances are I'm going to want to read it because I'm black. I'm just putting out the, like, that's real. You know, if it's about me, I'm going to want to read it. And so as a kid, I was interested in the Langston Hughes story. Like, it stood out to me. I was like, man, You know, I'm reading about Harlem and all of that. So I'm like, yeah, I answer the questions, and I just know if you graded me on that test to this day, if you graded me on that Langston Hughes story, I know for a fact I got 100 on it. I know for a fact I did. I understood everything the word, like the story was saying. So I had to tell myself, I'm like, man, and this is the first time I read a black story or a story about African Americans in a standardized test. It's not seen that, you know, you rarely see a story about black people on a standardized test. So to me, that was major, you know, thinking about it, like, yeah, you never see that. I told myself, I said, self, do what you did for this story on these other 2 stories. Like, go back to them and try to answer them again if you feel like something you answered was off. So I went back to those other stories and I read. And I felt like this time when I read, I understood it. So I changed some of the answers. Y'all, it's hot out here. So if I'm wiping myself, it's because it's sweaty. I mean, it's because it's hot and I'm sweating. So yeah, I'm like, I understand these 2 stories now. So after those 2 stories, I continue on to the math and the science, you know. And I tell the lady, I say, thank you, I'm done with the test. She accepts the test. And she says, wait, you sure you want to go now? Because the other students who are taking the test in the normal time span, they're still testing. So when you walk out these halls, you still have to remain quiet because they're not done yet. And you finish before them and you get extra time on your test. So are you sure you done with the test, or do you need to stay? Do you need to revisit it again? Like, what's, you know, because you haven't really submitted it just yet. Okay? And so I'm like, no, I feel good. I think I'm good. I know I finished like an hour or 45 minutes so before them, but I think I'm good. So I leave out. She's like, okay, that's it. Can't offer to you no more. So I leave out the door. And I went to Winter Haven High School, by the way. So, which is in Florida. So I get out the door and I'm like, okay, I feel good. You know, you got to check. You got to make sure you feel good, right? So I'm like, okay, I feel good. I feel like I passed, you know, like it's a good feeling. I never felt this way before about a test. I'm usually on the sides of, I don't know, I might need to go back in there. You know, I'm always feeling that way. But I never had a feeling like I had that day, like a good feeling, you know? So I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm done with the test. I'm on my way home. And my mom was like, on your way home, you need to go back in there? Like, do you need to go see, if you can like revisit the test, make sure you did everything right? And I'm like, nah, Mom, I passed. That's all I say, y'all. I said I passed. And she was like, okay. She was like, all right, well, we at the house. So I came to the house, right? So like I said, that test was in the fall going into spring. So now we're around to Christmas break, right? The day after Christmas, I remember sleeping, y'all. I just remember being asleep. And I remember being woken up out of my sleep. And when I woke up, y'all, it was my mom, my grandma, and my dad standing just like that. And I remember my dad waving this paper in my hand, like in my face. And he was just like, you passed. You passed. And so, y'all, that was the day I found out I'm graduating. Come spring, I'm graduating from high school, y'all. And I was so happy with myself. I'm happy that I didn't continue to fall down. I'm happy that I made the choice to get back up. I'm happy because my life changed since then. I was able to go to college since then. I was able to get a master's degree, a bachelor's degree. I was just grateful that I had more opportunities coming my way, y'all. So when I say that message, you know, falling down is an accident, staying down is a choice, I mean it. Whatever you're going through, fight that. That's a test. That's a test of your faith. Fight that. Battle that right there. Get in the ring. Box it. You know, so anything y'all going through right now, y'all, it's a test. It's a test. We in this together. We working together, y'all. I'm proud of myself. Sorry if that story time didn't make sense. I hope it did. I'm gonna have it posted either today or tomorrow, y'all. I have a few more errands to run. I'm trying to do a lot of deep cleaning in my house. now that I'm back, I'm trying to get my life together. So that's what I've been doing these last few days. So I apologize for not posting. But I am back home, so you'll see more videos from me now for sure, because I'm taking a break for like 3 weeks, and then I got another. Yeah, I'm gonna be going somewhere else soon, but 3 weeks I'm definitely gonna be posting more for sure. It's hot outside, so again, that's why I'm sweating, y'all. But I wanted to get this video out to y'all because I know people are like on the edge of giving up. Don't give up. Don't give up. That's what the devil wants you to do. That's what your haters want you to do. They want you to give up, you know. But continue to keep that faith, continue to work. You'll succeed. You'll succeed. That was one of my many testimonies, y'all, because that there was scary. I was considering the military because I was in JROTC anyway. So I was just like, military, you not sounding too bad right now, you know. So I was thinking of all other options, ASVAB testing to get into the military. I was thinking GED may be easier. Y'all, I was going through it, and I knew the time was coming. I knew crunch time was coming. But this is how I know I was an overthinker too, because every time the FCAT came around, which was like March, my birthday month, like I took every birthday, I was taking the FCAT test every single birthday. All my birthdays. You wake up in the morning, happy birthday, I gotta take the FCAT. Like, I'm upset because I gotta take a standardized test on my birthday. You know, and then not only is it my birthday, but I'm also probably sick because I didn't stress myself out. So now I'm over here coughing, sneezing. I got a cold in spring and not in fall. You know, so I'm over here stressed. I was going through it. It wasn't easy, y'all. It was a lot of stress that was going on as a kid. But my camera's about to die, y'all. They warning me now. My camera about to die. So when I say they, I'm talking about my camera is warning me now. But y'all, make sure y'all tune in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time, thank you so much for watching the video. We